Hello and welcome back. We're live and welcome to the show where I have been interviewing amazing people that I know. And some of you may recognize these familiar faces because, yes, I have interviewed them before, but you may notice this common theme throughout all of the interviews that my friends live a multi-dimensional life, that they do many, many different things and they are experts in many, many different areas of the world. And so I would love to welcome Julia, Tiffin, and Annie Riley. Hi.
Hi, lovely to be here.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah.
So today we are talking about a hot topic. Well, is it a hot topic here in the UK? It might be in other places, that it's just the norm, but it's about passion. And what does that mean? And how does that relate in our lives? And, I feel now is a perfect opportunity to talk about this because it's May and it's still raining. And a lot of us are feeling from being on lockdown. So I feel like we need a bit of passion. So let's open up, and I would love to hear from you both about what it is to live a passionate life. Why is passion important, first of all?
I'm going to jump in just straight away. Davina, Kate, as you know, I've grown up on a land where there's a lot of sun and there's a lot of fire. And so living with that fire and that sun in my life has been something which I don't quite know what to do, what to live without. And I think since I've been in the mystery school, I've learned how to really wield that fire energy, which results in this passion that we're needing. And I have to just tell you that just as we're starting this interview, my next door neighbor began playing this really racy dance music. So I think the passion's already coming in through the walls. But this fire energy that I've really honed and explored since I've been in the mystery school is what lights up for me what I'm really here to do. It gives me the correct fuel to be on target and on track with my life. I was thinking earlier today just about how different it would be if cars ran off water as opposed to gas or petrol, which produces so much toxicity and really just fuels a money-making, industry. And so I think people are not running on the true fire in their life. They're running on something which keeps them a bit like a hamster in a hamster wheel, going around in circles, burning them out, actually. As opposed to tapping into that pure energy like water, that, having a car run on water, and tapping into that pure fire that just makes you alive and puts you on track with what you're here to do, how you go about doing it, giving you the drive to just keep going. And also you spoke about being multidimensional. Without that fire, I definitely wouldn't be able to be, editing a book and working on a healing practice in a different country and doing all the different things, all the different projects. I don't want to name them all, but all the different projects I'm doing. If I didn't have fire that could fuel me in my daily life.
So Annie, what do you feel about passion then? Why is it important for us to have passion?
Well, just picking up on what Julia was saying, we need that fire energy. We need to have that passion, that desire, that to live life fully, who we came here to be. And for me recently, I have experienced a reawakening of that passion and sensuality. And this has been in the form of exploring a new paradigm way of living, being, and relating. So, we talk about having relationships and we talk about, being with that special person. But, I have found in the past that it wasn't multidimensional, and it wasn't serving me. I didn't have that connection. I didn't have that. There was something missing. There was a magic. There was a missing element from how I was showing up for myself, and also with that significant other person in my life. And this was kind of brought to my awareness through our journey using the Universal Kabbalah Ascension program this year. And we reached a point in the tree, which is called Gevurah and Hesed, which is Kabbalah 3. And it's a point where we review all those things that we haven't yet addressed in our life, that we set out to explore, that we petition the tree to serve us with. And so for me, this took the form of, well, dating. And we were in COVID, and it was a very tricky situation because, you know, I connected with my higher self through sanctuary meditation, and I got this message that this is what I had to do. And I'm like, but how is that going to serve me? You know, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get, why do I have to date? Why do I have to, you know, I didn't understand. I couldn't put the dots together to see how this was going to serve me in my life with what I wanted, because I had asked, what is my next step? Now, when I asked my higher self, and when I asked the tree, what is my next step? I meant in terms of serving other people. And I thought, how is dating going to help me in serving other people? And I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I thought, okay. And I resisted because, you know, as we do, we get this information, and I resisted. And then the magical way that we live life, you know, I connected with my fairy friends, and I connected with the beings of the river, and I was getting the same message. And I was like, oh my God, you know, I've got to do it. But how do we do it, you know, when we're in COVID? So I thought, okay, I spoke to another friend of mine, Davina Ann Donnelly, who has just written that amazing book about Once Upon a Tinder. And she said, Annie, go on Tinder, go on the dating app. So I thought, okay. So I signed myself up. But again, I left it for a little while because I wasn't comfortable. You know how we get comfortable in how we're living our lives. And I didn't get how it was going to manifest. So anyway, eventually I took the plunge, and I started liking, you know, people's profiles on Tinder, and I was getting messages back. And I just stuck to that to begin with, you know. And then when it opened up again that we could actually see people, I thought, okay, I'll meet people for a, you know, first of all, have a conversation with them. I had like a 3-step process, you know, have a conversation with them on the phone. And if they kind of got who I was, because I'd say, look, what I'm looking to do is explore, you know, yeah, sex, sensuality, but it was from a higher purpose. It was from this new paradigm way of living, being, and relating. And I said, and I don't know what that looks like, because I didn't know what it looks like. But hey, I want to find out what that looks like through having those experiences. So I'd have the phone conversation, and if I sensed that they were right, I'd meet them for a tea in a cafe. And then, you know, eventually, you know, if they pass that test, I invite them around for dinner, because that's another one of my passions is food. I love food. And one of the things that happened during this time was, again, I shifted from being vegetarian to vegan. So it was a whole journey of reawakening. And another thing that came from these experiences was another passion of mine, which is dancing. And I couldn't go out and do the dancing because, again, it was, it was lockdown. So I went back and I started, you know, I bought an Alexa, and I was dancing. To, and I was drawn to dance to people like Barry White, Tony Braxton, Sade. It was sensual. It was, you know, it was like I was going through this whole reawakening of my fire, of my passion, through these meetings with men, and also through food, and combining food, music, dancing. The whole thing just got reawakened within me. So yeah, that's how it's been for me. And it was interesting. What happened was, as I went through this process, you know, I was still serving people through meditations online, and stress rescue, and leading sanctuary meditation. And people were saying to me, something's happened to you. We feel that there's, even though I was actually feeling more alive and vibrant, it flowed into my service and into my work. And I went, I like this. I really like this. And it was benefiting me. And then I thought, now I get it. Now I get, while I was getting that message, this is what you have to do, because it flowed into all aspects of my life and my being. Yeah.
So, so this passion that we're talking about from both angles is, you know, this fire energy. It's that get up and go, and we see, and you know, in the world, one of the major problems that we have in the world is apathy. And people are not able or not willing or not wanting, you know, whatever terminology you want to use, that, you know, they don't want to take action. They don't want to actually do anything. So how is passion lost? How, you know, how are people getting into this? Just so that we can help people out there that perhaps don't know that they're apathetic, you know, that they're perhaps lacking in passion. Maybe Julia, you could.
Yeah, well, for me, you know, where does these flames reside, or how do we access the flames, this passion, this fire? You know, it's a super simple formula. I mean, it's about following your heart, and you know, there are these messages that we get, feelings. Let's say you've got a great aptitude to do law. For some reason, you can't really explain it. You really want to do philosophy. And it's that moment where you decide not to do the philosophy, but you do the law because it makes more sense, and you don't follow your heart. That's just one little example of where it can be. But every time we use logic to talk away this something, this yearning in our heart, maybe it's, you know, it's this deep feeling you've had that you need to take a break from work and go and live in Italy for a year and pick grapes, I don't know. And it really makes no sense, but you can't explain this really deep feeling. And when we don't listen to it, it's like putting water over the flames. The thing is that the fire, when we have it ignited and we keep it going because we listen to these crazy little sparks of inspiration, it actually helps us to access what I call this compass, this navigational tool within, that will move you towards leading a deeply fulfilled life, because the fire knows what's really going to bring you to a state of deep joy. And yes, you know, Davina Kate, as you were saying, this is a huge problem, that people are functioning on logic, leading to apathy, as opposed to leading from the fire, leading from the heart. And this is something, if people can make that shift, will create joyful people. And there's one thing I do want to say, you know, it's not a fluffy term, following the heart. The Egyptians, the Greeks have said that the highest intelligence is really coming through the heart. And he was talking about the tree of life and the study of that, which we call the Kabbalah. And truly, we actually access on the tree of life the higher mind, the higher intelligence through the heart, Tiferet. So this is critical that we go there.
So this is interesting. I'm just bringing this to you now, Annie. So we're talking about this dance, this food and relationships. And to me, that all sounds like the creative arts. You know, that's all to do with expression and creativity. And we're seeing more than ever now that our children at school in particular are having those subjects taken away, and we're being more directed to do academic, logically minded things. Now, you studied in dance, and so can you just give us a bit of insight about how, you know, creativity and you know, and passion and how that can support children and you know, moving into adults and such like?
Yeah, I mean, as we've we've identified, it is such a hugely important role to be able to live expressing your passion. And you know, I used to be a PE teacher, and I have a degree in physical education, and I did my honours in dance and philosophy of the performing arts. So it's something that I have always and I was always encouraged by, I was lucky by my parents to do what you want to be and follow your own dream. And at the age of 12, I decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a PE teacher, and I wanted to, because what did I like best at school? I like playing games, and I like dancing and doing gymnastics and things like that. And it's so true at the moment. You know, what we're seeing in schools, a lot of those creative activities are being taken out of the curriculum, and you're being pushed towards the more academic and the science. I truly don't know how I would have functioned in that kind of environment. And there are so many children that that this is who they are, this is their magic. And it's about, we need to, in our education, create a system that really, it should be about each child coming to find their unique magic, their unique peace. And it would be through their heart, as well as, yes, we need to bring in the science side of things as well. It's not just all, as Julia said, it's not a fluffy thing, but through that heart, through that passion, and finding their unique magical piece. If that was the purpose of schools, imagine the shift that we would have in schools, because you could bring in all the other academic stuff into that container as well. But let's do it from the heart. Let's do it from finding, what are you passionate about? What is it that sparks your fire? And then through that, bring in, how it can be related to the other, the more academic, because we need both. We need a balance of both. We talked about that tree of life. This is the Hode, it's the higher mind, and then we have Netzach, which is that creativity. And we need to balance all aspects of that being. But we come in with, quite often not in that balanced state. We come in with a predisposition to, either science or art. And so it's an honoring, of that totality of the whole being, is to refine, to raise up the weaker aspects, and also to keep refining, those things that you love doing. It's not only about, what we need to learn, what we need to achieve, but it's honoring, what is it that sparks? What is it that lights you up? Do that. And then bring in all those other things as well. It's such a shame what we're seeing in schools at the moment, because, there are so many children which, probably, as Julia calls it, it's a bit like the being onto their fire. If they are create that, it's going to be like, they're being dampened down. It's not being honored. It's not being, they're feeling less than their other their friends in the class whose strengths are the sciences. And it's not like one is better than the other. We need all to create a new world. We need the scientists, but we also need the creatives as well. Yeah.
Yes, great. So Julia, the passion. So what recommendations do you have for people that may be feeling a little bit down, a little bit like they can't be bothered? What can we do? Practical stuff or metaphysical? What would you suggest?
Well, Tiffin, Kate, the stress, this is going to be a kind of a left field suggestion, but the stress rescue program that we offer, it's pretty amazing, because it looks at the actual science of how stress works in the body, and then gives you techniques to start getting on top of your chemistry. But what it also does, it gives you techniques to both help the left and the right brain. So just off the bat, if anyone has a chance to attend Stress Rescue, some of us have been offering it online as a service to everyone for free. You'll pick up techniques that are going to help you to access your creative flow very, very easily. But as Annie was saying, this is a key thing, that the arts are being systematically taken out of schools across the world. And so one of the quickest ways to start accessing your passion actually is to start exploring the arts, to be honest. And it could be appreciating arts. It doesn't have to mean only doing it. Both appreciation and doing helps you. Listening to music is huge. Listen to other music you haven't listened to before. That's key. Go into your Spotify, go into your iTunes, your Google Play, whatever you use, and start exploring a wider range of music. Dance is huge. put on that different music and find different ways to move to it. And yes, you know, each person I find has got something creative that they do like doing, but they're not doing it. I mean, even just picking up rocks and making little pet rocks, putting little, like, you know, like cute little smiley faces and leaving it at someone's door as a gift. That's a cool little creative project you can do straight away. So the art is one thing. The other thing I would recommend, super simple. Before you go to bed at night, ask to connect to your fire, to that inner spark within you that knows how to take you back to the core of you, to your fire. Keep asking that every night. And when you wake up in the course of the day, if you get a sense of something that illogical you need to do that you wouldn't ordinarily do, try something different, do something new, pick up that pen you haven't, I don't know, whatever it is, do it. Whatever little feeling you get, run with it, because it's like you're being shown little breadcrumbs back home to your fire. And the truth is, to get back to your fire, it takes action. And that's the key piece. It's like when you want to make a fire, you've got to go get the kindling, you've got to gather the wood, you've got to get something to start the fire. Thinking back to when we lived, or like some of the, you know, all the times when you had to actually really, you didn't have lighters and matches, and think of it like that. You've got to find your way back to your fire, and it's going to take action. And if you just keep going at those different actions, you will start sparking and lighting it up. But remember, take action on the things that seem illogical, then you know you're on the right track. Not dangerous, just a little bit crazy.
Yeah, yes. Don't try this at home banner now comes up.
Don't make a fire inside of your bedroom.
Yeah. No. Annie, so you were talking about relationships, and you have found that this has brought a spark of passion back into your life. Now, do you, you know, for people out there that are perhaps, you know, maybe they're divorced, maybe they're widowed, maybe they're single, you know, and they're feeling a bit, you know, it's not easy. Can you share some of your just some of your advice for them, you know, encouraging, I don't, you know, in you know, how to take those baby steps?
Yeah, I mean, I know. I mean, I went through divorce as well, and it does take time, you know, for you to clear that that energy, to let go of you know, of that past relationship. And you know, for me, I am you know, I'm eternally grateful for the mystery school, for, you know, these teachings and the tools that we use every day that really help us shift through, you know, everything that we go through in life. And, you know, baby steps, I would say, you know, really it's about learning to love yourself again, and to honoring yourself, and, you know, self-nurturing, self-care. These are all things that I did. You know, I started, you know, look at myself, and you know, things like I like to start my day now with like a salt bath in the morning, you know, because I feel that that is setting me up for the day. I feel that I'm, you know, rather than rushing and, oh, I've got this and this to do. No, it's giving myself time to honor me. So salt baths, you know, looking at the way that you eat, and, you know, making sure that you're hydrated, you know, having healthy food, you know, relaxing. You know, Julia talked about, you know, listening to different kinds of music, you know, yeah, look at the, you know, going out in nature. So I really, you know, really had to do a lot more sort of like self-nurturing and self-care and honoring of myself. And what does that look like for each person? It really is an increasing journey into the self. And as I mentioned, the tools that we receive, modern mystery in the sessions, I would, you know, we talk about doing something new, definitely advise somebody to have a life activation, because that really does reconnect you to hope and sparks that fire again. It gets you back on track in life, in all areas of your life. So yeah, a great place to start would be nurturing yourself, looking at really, you know, taking care of yourself and investing in yourself, in you, in really looking at yourself and who you came here to be and how you are to show up in the world. And that we have those tools that really help you that. So look at yourself and, you know, let go of that programming that we've gone through and the taboo around certain things, which we know, you know, that we have, that there is everything that you need within this modern mystery school structure of healing and teachings. So yeah, baby steps, you know, take time to sit down and smell the roses, have that cup of tea, honor yourself, have that salt bath, and have a life activation. Yeah, I'm going to say that every time. Just get a life activation.
Annie, you and I are the same. You know, anytime anybody comes to me with anything, you know, and I think about all the different options and modalities that we have in the mystery school, and I sit there and I think about all the different things, and it always starts with the life activation, always, because it's like the miracle. It's amazing. Julia, you were going to say.
Absolutely.
Well, and then after you've had that, which already actually does the trick, then you can try the fire soul infusion.
Oh.
And that, yeah, I see. Just like that, sort of like the extra icing on top of the cake.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Yeah, juicy.
So what I'm hearing from both of you, we're just finishing up now, but I know the time has gone quickly, so we probably have to have a part 2. But what I'm hearing from both of you is that you both flow passion in your lives from within. It's you've both taken action. You both look after yourself. You both look phenomenal. You're oozing, you know, that gorgeousness, that sexiness, and that passion, but also kindness and strength. And I really noticed that about you both. And you know, and that's, you know, important. And I feel that fire sometimes gets misrepresented in, you know, kind of, or distorted, you know, as something else. But when it's wielded, you know, correctly, or, you know, it's beautiful the way that you're both expressing that. So I just wondered if there are a final few words. We're just finishing up now, but a final few words to say.
I would actually like to say something, and that was to pick up something that Annie said, and also that you've just said, and that fire does need to be contained and managed and controlled. When fire is misused, it can look like bursts of anger, frustration, impatience, and it actually can be very destructive, as we know. So we want to be able to source that fire from within, more like the sun, where it's constantly warming us, inspiring us to try new things, nurturing us, and giving us energy, that life-giving energy. So it is very important to manage the distortions of fire. And, you know, Annie was just speaking about the relationships and her sensuality, and fire can go so off kilter in that sphere and go towards obsessive sex and obsession and sex addiction, just to be quite honest. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this powerful fire that gives life and that nurtures and sustains us.
Thank you. Any final words, Annie?
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump on the back of what Julia's talking about there, and yeah, it's about honoring that fire, that sensuality, that your sexuality, and flowing it into your you know, your life from within, but with balance. It's the balance that we're looking for. You know, we want to flow it, but we have boundaries. And yeah, so just go out there and, you know, please do honor that fire within you, but with balance. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ladies, beautiful goddesses. Thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm sure you'll agree. We only just got started with this topic, and I feel like we'll need more as we delve deeper into passion, the hot stuff, and how we can wield that in our lives. So thank you, Annie Riley. Thank you, Julia Tiffin, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.